Welcome. In this lesson, we're going to learn about the third tool in the lasso selection. This is an edge detection tool. It's called the magnetic lasso. And as you can tell, it has a little magnet with the icon so that you know. Basically, to use it, since it's an edge detection tool, all you do is just click and move your cursor. That's it. And you see these little points, they're called anchor points, and they are there to fasten the line. And if you believe that one goes out of place, let's say for example like this, press the backspace and it will go to the previous anchor point, and then you can redo the line. There you go. If you believe that your edge is not well defined and it has poor contrast, you can click the cursor and create an anchor point for yourself or for the magnetic lasso tool. Usually default settings are pretty okay. Rarely do I ever have to change the frequency. And I'm just going to show you here. Okay. And as you can see, when it gets to the end, you have a little circle. That means it's going to enclose the selection. All you do is click to create the selection, and there you have it. If by chance, I'm just going to show you a couple things, that you forget that you have the magnetic lasso tool and you click and it starts doing this crazy stuff and you don't know how to stop it, press escape. Also remember, when you make a selection or when you start the magnetic lasso tool and you start doing this and you double click, it's going to go from the end point where you double click, and it's going to take the shortest path to the beginning, and it's going to enclose that selection. Okay, it's just two things I wanted to let you know because for the longest time I forgot about that escape key. Okay, now let's talk about what is this width, contrast, and frequency. Well, always make sure your feather is 0. Make sure your anti-alias is on so you can get a smooth edge transition. And the width basically means, I'd rather show you what the width means. Remember, we have it on 10 pixels, right? So basically, the width, it changes. You can change the size of the area that Photoshop is going to look for an edge. So if we have a well-defined edge, as we see here, you can use larger settings. And with larger settings, it's more loose. Basically, the magnetic lasso is saying, look, I know there's an edge. I don't have to worry about anything. You can move faster and more freely. If the contrast between the background and what you're selecting is poor, then you need a lower width and usually a lower contrast setting, and then move slower. You have to be a little bit tighter because now the magnetic lasso is saying, look, I can't tell, I need some help. You need to move a little bit slower. Okay? And to do this, you can do it on the fly. So if I click to start the magnetic lasso tool and I press a left bracket key and I move, and it's going to change the width, watch what happens. I'm going to change it to 1. Now look at the magnetic lasso tool. Remember how easily it was connecting to the edge? It needs a lot of help, which means I need to move really, really, really slow. Now I'm going to press the right bracket key. Let's move it up to 15. And now I can move fast and freely because it knows where the edge is. It doesn't have a problem. Okay, the same with contrast. In order to change contrast, you would press the comma to decrease it, or the period to increase it. And if I'm right, because this is so well defined, I can use a contrast of 1 and probably get away with it. Yep, see, I can get away with it. Okay, let me just, and to change it back quickly, what do? Right click and then choose Reset Tool. Now in the next tutorial, what we're going to do is I'm going to close this, and we're going to use a combination of tools to select.